Okay, so if you're new to cryptocurrencies, you've probably heard about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all of these big names, and you're probably wondering what the heck is the difference between all of them. So with that being said, the best way to describe it is that cryptocurrencies are actually broken into multiple different layers, and each layer performs a very specific action which contributes to the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. Currently, right now, there are a total of 4 layers. The first layer being the fundamental blockchain. Items such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, these are all considered as blockchain layer 1 solutions. Layer 2s are basically built on top of layer 1s in order to improve certain things such as speed and cost. And layer 3s are then built on top of that in order to build what we call the Internet of Things. And then finally, layer 4 is to bring all of those things built on layer 1, 2, and 3 into one single user interface. I'm going to break down each one in more detail. Okay, so the way that I like to describe layer 1 solutions is as if it's an operating system. It's needed in order to allow other projects to thrive. You need an operating system. The way that you have a laptop, the hardware on the laptop is useless if you don't have the software. And the software in this situation is what we call layer 1, the operating system for cryptocurrencies. So there are multiple projects, different ones that have been created with different variations of their blockchain technology in order to help address certain things such as speed, throughput, and also transaction finality. But in real simple terms, each one has slight tweaks in order to come up with the best performing operating system. So I'll give you a quick example. Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the oldest cryptocurrency. It's the most popular cryptocurrency. But the problem with Bitcoin is that it's very slow and it's very expensive in relative terms to cryptocurrencies. So the current throughput, which is transactions per second, is currently around 3 to 7 transactions per second, which is pretty slow if you're comparing it with Visa. Visa, for example, does 28,000 transactions per second the last time I checked. And then also the fees. So in order for you to send a Bitcoin or to receive a Bitcoin, the transaction fees that are generated from that is anywhere between $2 to $5. And then it takes anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes in order for each transaction to be finalized. So you can see in terms of cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, although it's the biggest and although it has the highest market cap, it actually is the most expensive to transact, and it's extremely slow, and it has very limited transactions that you can do per second. If you compare it with Ethereum, Ethereum can do 17 transactions per second, and this is currently. When they actually have their scaled model, which is I believe Ethereum 2.0, they should be able to have more transactions per second. But currently right now we're looking at about 17 transactions per second, and it takes about 5 minutes for each transaction to be finalized, and it costs around $2 in order to have a transaction conducted on the Ethereum blockchain. This price actually does substantially go up the more congested the network becomes. So you may be aware that there is a thing such as congestion, which basically means there's a high amount of transactions occurring on the blockchain. And as a result of that, in order for certain transactions to be prioritized, you have to pay a higher transaction fee. And in cryptocurrency, we call that gas fees. And the higher the fee, the more priority you get, which means your transaction has more of a chance to go through as opposed to someone who's paying less in transaction fees for their transaction to go through. And I'll give you a few more examples. So there's a project called Velas, also a layer 1 operating system solution, where it handles up to 50,000 transactions per second. So it's double that of Visa, and it costs a fraction of a cent to transact. And then we have Solana. Solana can do up to 65,000 transactions per second, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And it's also 4 zeros to 1 cent approximately in order to transact, so it's very cheap. And the finality, the transaction time is 0.4 seconds. So it's less than 1 second for me to send you over money. So you can see here through the example and the evolution of cryptocurrencies, especially layer 1 projects, you can see that these operating systems are absolutely improving the more advanced cryptocurrencies become. But with that being said, they are still operating layer 1 solutions, which brings us on to layer 2. What is layer 2? Layer 2 solutions are built specifically to address the speed and scalability of layer 1 solutions. So it's a layer pretty much built on top of the layer 1, and through this layer you can do 4 things. You can roll up, sidechain, channel, and bridge. So as far as roll-ups and sidechains, what it's basically doing is it's still interacting. These layer 2 solutions are still interacting with the layer 1 solution, but what it's doing is it's actually changing the data that is being transferred from one place to the other. It's compressing that information, and as a result of compressing that information, it allows for transactions to be processed at a much faster rate than if it wasn't compressed. And by doing so, it costs much less to do, and it's much faster to actually transact. And although it's compressing the information once it gets sent from one place to the other, what's actually happening is that it's still interacting with the layer 1 solution and then settling it at a later time, but it's occurring on the layer 2 solution. So I know that was a bit complex, but I'm going to give you a very clear example where you can actually test this out live yourself. So if you download the app Cash App, you can actually buy, sell, send, receive Bitcoin, and the network that it uses in order to send, receive, buy, sell Bitcoin is using the Lightning Network, which is a layer 2 solution built on top of the layer 1 solution, Bitcoin. So what this allows you to be able to do is receive and send Bitcoin almost instantaneously. So as you saw, the problem with the layer 1 solution like Bitcoin is that it takes about 10 minutes in order for a transaction to go through, and it costs about $5 to $10 for each transaction. Whereas with the Lightning Network built on top of the Bitcoin cryptocurrency, the layer 2 solution, the Lightning Network, allows you to be able to send all the way up to 1 million transactions per second, and the cost to transact from one place to the other is fractions of a cent. So with that layer 2 solution built on top of layer 1 Bitcoin, that allows for mass adoption and mass scalability. And we have a real world example being used by Cash App. Hopefully that makes sense, but I'm going to move over to layer 3. Before we resume the video, if you still need a personalized discussion, schedule a one-on-one call with us at decryptcrypto.net, and we'll be here to support you on your journey. With that being said, let's get back into the video. So layer 3s are built on top of layer 2s and 1s, and with the layer 3s there's multiple different things. You probably heard of all the news articles with NFTs, which is digital art, but that is considered as a layer 3 solution to cryptocurrency. So with NFTs, that's basically digital art or digital rights to specific properties. You also have DAOs, which is decentralized organizations, which is what I would consider as a democratic voting process for certain items to be developed on layer 1 solutions. They're called DAOs. And you also have DEXs, which is decentralized exchanges for you to be able to interact, buy, sell different crypto assets, whether it's an NFT, whether it's a meme coin. All of these different assets would be tradable on what we call a DEX. And then DeFi. So DeFi is basically a multitude of different financial solutions that you have available in the decentralized world of cryptocurrencies. For example, you can stake your assets on certain platforms and receive a reward as a result of that. You can also borrow money, you can loan money, and in return you would receive interest, which is all DeFi related. And also there's a multitude of different things such as investing in futures and all of that. So it's basically the decentralization of the centralized world. With this, you're connecting directly with an end customer. There's no middle person involved. You're trading. If I own an NFT, I can sell it to you directly and you can then own that. And all of that is considered as a layer 3 solution being performed on a layer 1 blockchain. Which brings us now to layer 4. Layer 4 is now to bring all of this together in one central user interface. And a great example is MetaMask and Brave browser. And what these layer 4 solutions are trying to do is to basically centralize access for multiple different crypto assets, mostly layer 3 solutions. So if you own an NFT, if you own a crypto coin, if you own a meme token, all of that will be held on a layer 4 solution such as MetaMask or Brave browser. So just to summarize, layer 1 is a fundamental operating system which is necessary necessary in order for everything else to exist within cryptocurrencies. Layer 2 is focused on solving scalability issues. Layer 3 is the Internet of Things, which allows you to buy different valuable assets within each layer 1 blockchain. And then also layer 4 is bringing everything together so that you can house all of that information as a part of your user experience. If you found this content helpful, please do leave a comment. Let us know if you have any questions. And in the next video, we'll be covering how you can buy and store your cryptocurrencies. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.